sensitive.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we are now live. So, welcome to Writer Talks. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, and every week I interview the winners of our short story contests here at Two Sisters Writing and Publishing. I'm so honored tonight to have Babitha Justin live from India. She is an extremely talented writer. She is a poet, and she's just a talented phenomenon. So, welcome, Babitha.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Thank you, Two Sisters Writing, for having me here.
Yes, well, we're so honored to talk with you. First of all, thank you for getting up so early because it's 30 in the morning in southern India where you are right now.
Yes.
So I appreciate you getting up early to talk with me tonight.
It's my honor.
And thank you. So your story, The Blue-Eyed Ant, is about a brown-skinned woman with blue-green eyes who has this mystical man that she meets outside on the new moon, and it's just delightful to read. Can you talk about your writing process and what inspires you?
I'll begin with this story. The story is about an aunt who's very dark skinned, and she's got blue eyes, and
Mhm.
people consider her to be a bad omen. And of course, and of course, there's a little bit of twist. She's got a love affair, and she considers. I mean, she tells the small child who's a protagonist that this love affair is a Gandharva. Gandharvas were these mystical kind of fantasy creatures, fantasy
Uh-huh.
men. They actually
Yes.
delve on the female fantasy realm, okay? Because they are all mythical stories, but in ancient times, people believe, women especially believe that they were possessed by these very beautiful, heavenly, celestial human beings, men called the Gandharvas, who just they could conjure up the Gandharvas any time at night. They'd come and please them and shower with all kinds of praises, love, and everything they need, and they'd leave in the morning. Okay, and nobody on earth could ever even know about the existence of their lovers, Gandharvas.
Uh-huh.
So so there was this kind of female fantasy worked into it, and it's actually part of the myth of our land. It's a part of the tales of our land. So many women, long time back, they used to believe that they used to be possessed by the Gandharvas, and they quite enjoyed it. And of course, there were lots of people who there were people who tried to exorcise them from the Gandharvas, because women
Mhm.
were possessed, they were in love, and they were always in a kind of a mad state of being in love and happy,
Oh, I
ecstatic.
love that. Oh.
so, so I grew up with all these kinds of stories. There was a kind of female counterpart for the Gandharvas. Um, uh, they were the yakshis, so the women who used to please men. But the yakshis always had
Mhm.
some kind of a negative point, and the fact is that they used to eat men after they satiated their desire. So,
Oh
yeah,
my
okay.
goodness.
So that's perhaps it's a male fantasy and the anxiety of women on women's desire. So I just wanted to rework on that, and
Wow.
yeah, by the time I got your call from on submittable, I was actually thinking on all those lines, and I was a bit obsessed with the reworking of Yakshi and Gandharva stories. So it was easy. um,
Uh-huh.
uh, you were asking me about my writing process. As you know, I write in English. It's my second language. Basically, um, I'm not like I speak my own language pretty well. I write as well as I read, but I'm more comfortable with English because I'm an English teacher. Basically, maybe because I read quite a lot of English. It's all there in my blood. So I try to write
Mhm.
English. And especially because see, as a child, I was not a born writer or a prodigy or anybody, but a child with a big imagination who used to lie quite a lot, who used to make up a lot of stories. And at school, I was also pretty dyslexic with my studies and all. I really, really had to struggle. But then there were these stories always inside me. Someday it had to come out. So after once went to college, I wanted to study. I wanted to prove the world that I'm not so bad. I had to kind of get a job. I had to study pretty well. So that became one of my real intentions in life. So then I became an academic, full-time academic, writing my thesis and researching and writing academic papers and going for conferences. Not pretty good at it, but then I had to. I was just managing. And it was at that particular time when I was around 25, 26. I got a job somewhere very far away, quite far from my home, around 4,500 kilometers from my home. I was teaching in a university in the northeast. It's in the northeastern parts of the Himalayan foothills. So it was quite far away from home. I was alone. At that time, I was newly married, but I was alone there. It was then I started writing my poetry. It was to first shed off my loneliness. I wasn't very confident about my poetry, but then I was fortunately I got involved with uh, a group of writers, poets, uh,
Mhm.
who used to write in English, and they're amazing poets, and they kind of shaped on me into writing poetry. And then, I thought perhaps this is it. I should write because I had all these stories and poems inside me. I didn't know how it was coming. First of all, it was all like any new writer. I was just pouring out my heart, like I was just
Mm,
being confessional
mhm,
and things like that. It was only very, lately I started, you know, submitting on the submittable, and I started publishing
mhm.
abroad.
So,
Yeah.
oh, beautiful. So submittable.com is where people can enter our writing contests. And Babitha's story, her winning story, is on our website, twosisterswriting.com. So you can read it there. It's just wonderful. Would you like to read some of your poetry?
Yeah.
Okay. If you'd like to also check her out, you can find Babitha on YouTube, where she has videos of her performing her poetry, and they're just absolutely delightful.
Uh, this is from my collection of poems called I Cook My Own Feast, and I need my reading glasses here. Uh, Usually, I do a lot of multitasking when I write because there'll be something to cook. I have to take care of my children. I have my job at hand. I have my parents at home too. So it's quite a huge task. It's in between. I find some time to write. So this particular poem, the title one, I cook my own feast, is about that.
Babitha, can you hold your microphone up a little closer so we can hear you more
Uh,
clearly? Yes, thank you so
am
much.
I fine now?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
I cook my own feast. I was making mutton biryani when the news of the London blast broke on TV. A splayed pound of mutton leg, well chopped, marinated with ginger, garlic, and papaya paste. The pink flesh lacerated, death's order cloaked with herbs and masala. When the Philippines boiled over, I was cooking chicken in a scooped out watermelon rind to remember its exotic, raw, and smoky taste later. A salad of cabbage for Afghanistan, grated carrots and pomegranate blood beets from Kabul, a dash of lime from my yard of tears. Today, I put my signature on Neychoru with sunset strands of saffron and no beef on a slow, simmering fire.
Mm. I love that. That's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely beautiful. I love it when you take an everyday scene of cooking and transform it into this poetic, beautiful experience. That was awesome. Thank you.
You're most
So,
welcome.
so how do you feel when you're writing poetry? Like, do you have to be still and silent? Is it an expression of sadness? Is it a celebration? What are you feeling when you're doing that?
In fact, it used to be a kind of a device to counter my loneliness once upon a time.
Mhm.
But right now, it's almost 20 years since I've started writing. And right now, it's more of a craft which I try to exercise every day, like meditation. And I'm always in the middle of a whirlwind like that. Okay, my kids are growing up and they're in their teens, and then I have this household full of people to take care of them, and I have this job to do, and I have my painting and plenty of things. And in between, it's like it has actually become one of my routines. This I have to do, or else I'm going to lose it. So uh, uh, this is where I've taken a lot of you know uh, community help from other poets, uh, as well as classes, creative writing classes online and all. And literally, I follow them. Like it's like every day. If not every day, almost every day, I have to sit and write a couple of lines.
Mhm.
Even if I'm sad or happy, most of it is it rushed. That will be edited sooner or later. But then I have to write, and it's actually become part of my living lifestyle as such.
I love that. Is it part so do you do it at the same time every day or whenever you get a break or how do you do that? Because so many people right now, Babitha, will be so inspired to hear that you say you do it every day diligently. That's beautiful.
It's like for me, it's a kind of necessity because if I don't do it every day, I'm gonna lose it, and it's like I have to do it today.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
uh, and especially because I'm hard pressed for time, especially because I really don't get the kind of time and space for myself that I want. It's like the kind of an exotic locale where I can take the writer's residency, go and look at the sea or the mountains and write. That kind of luxury is unfortunately not part of my life. But then because of that, that makes it quite difficult. I mean, easy in the sense that I don't look for excuses. So whenever I get a chance, I just come and write down something. Or what I do is for a kind of an immediate um, um, inspiration, I read something, then go ahead and write something, and then leave it there. Maybe come back after some time and edit them. Go ahead and edit them draft by draft, then submit on
Mhm,
Submittable or any other platform like that.
mhm.
In that way, the internet has really helped because you have these writer communities, people like you, two sisters writing, and you have Trish Hopkinson, you have Submittable, Duotrop, all these places where people like me from all parts of all corners of the world can in fact reach out and perhaps publish. So that's
Yes.
quite inspiring.
Yes, and when you publish, when a lot of people are scared to publish their work and share it on those platforms that you just talked about, but Babitha, the message to everybody, all you writers out there, share it because it's a ray of sunshine for all of us. It's so uplifting. Like when Babitha was just doing her poem or just talking, it makes me feel so happy. And there's so much going on in the world right now just to hear a few moments of someone's beautiful words and ideas expressed poetically is just pure joy. So please write and please share it with us. Babitha, do you have any words of encouragement for other poets out there?
um, uh, I don't know if I have reached that point where I can speak in an encouraging way, because that may sound a bit patronizing. But from my experience, what I've seen is that I'm not scared of my mediocrity. I know that I'm pretty average, a kind of a writer, but I keep writing it, and I'm not ashamed to, as you said, to share my work. It's like people just look for perfectionism, and that's what they really get scared to like write or uh, uh, publish or share their work. But then it's like we are not so self-conscious about ourselves. Perhaps if we keep writing it on a daily basis, like meditation as we do, and share it, perhaps people can see will see the kind of value which is like embedded in it, and they accept it. That's what
Hmm.
I think.
I love
Perhaps we should
that.
not be so self-conscious and just do it in our own way, like in
Yes.
Bhagavad Gita. They say that you do your own thing, rewards will come later. If even if rewards don't come at all, that's absolutely fine. You just do your thing.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. That's awesome. Last night I did a show. I have a show called Boss Up Goddess, and the show was about started is better than stuck. So just start. If you want to write a poem, if you want to become, just start. Take a class, start writing, just do it. And I love what you just said about put put perfectionism to the side because we're all unique and we do things our own way. That's beautiful advice.
Absolutely.
Hmm. So, what is your goal as a writer, as a poet? What do you intend to do? Anything big, or would you like to just make it part of your daily practice?
Daily practice is definitely there. For the past 4 years, I've been working on a novel that's very close and dear to me.
Oh,
And perhaps in 2021, I've got it all edited. It's all like I won't say it's in a perfect shape, but then I'm quite happy with it, and I look forward to publishing it in 2021. Because of
wow.
COVID, it really got a bit delayed, but that's absolutely fine. So I'm planning to publish it the next year.
Oh,
And I think I have a lot of stories. Like Aditi said, all of us have plenty of stories within me. I need to write, and of course, though I say I write on a daily basis, I'm very lazy. At times, I'm like, oh, I can't do it
oh,
anymore. But then
wow.
I have to tell myself, go ahead and write your thing and write your stories.
Hmm. I love it. I
But
can't wait. I want to read your novel. Please let me know when it comes out,
definitely,
okay?
definitely, definitely.
I'll have to have you back on to talk about it. That's so exciting. And you've been working on it
Good.
for a long time?
Pardon?
You've been working on your novel for a long time?
Yeah, I've been working on it for 4 years. In fact, I finished my draft in 6 months. But then I'd been getting beta readers to read it, and I'd been editing it quite a bit.
Uh-huh.
I've got a British editor to edit it and an Indian editor so that they'll get the cultural context uh,
Mhm.
yeah, pretty good. And there won't be any anomalies and anachronisms inside. So I've been pretty good working at it, and hopefully I'll get a good publisher. That's what I'm waiting.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to read it. I just love your writing style and the way you spin these beautiful words together and the imagery that you create is just fantastical. So that's
So much.
lovely.
You made my day.
Well, this is what this is all about is celebrating writers because it's a passion and it helps us on a daily basis just feel our best and create. I always tell my sister, writers never retire. Writers just keep writing. It's what we do, you
That's
know?
what. Yeah.
So, can you talk a little more about how you feel when you're writing and if you try to emulate a certain style or if you experiment with different forms of poetry and short story writing?
I'll begin with poetry. In the beginning, it was all emptying myself, like pouring out all those emotions, and that's what the beginning writer beginners do. That's what I did. That I did too. But then we have this community of poets. Like during the COVID times, lockdown times, we began this community called the Quarantine Train. We have a group of Indian writers, poets. So we meet over Zoom, and we look into our own poetry. We have our prompts, we have very strong Indian English writing base in India. So uh, we look into our own poems, and we look at other people's poems as well. So it's all about poetry. So we've been like kind of flooded with poetry.
Oh,
submerged with a
that's
still,
beautiful.
yeah. So being part of that kind of process for quite some time.
Mhm,
But then writing as such, it's like writing a novel was quite difficult for me because first of all, it's such a long thing. Like you have so many words, and a novel has a certain form, and I have to actually stick to it. And it's
mhm,
prose. It's like it's
mhm,
not like the kind of a succinct, brief thing that I've been writing so far. Um, and the kind of voluminous thing of the novel itself was quite uh, difficult at the beginning. But then again, on a daily basis, when I did that, in 6 months I could finish the draft. But what happened was that it wasn't a pleasant experience at all. Even writing poetry is not quite pleasant, but then you have to go through that kind of pain or kind of torture. I would say the torture of writing only for a brief while, then you can actually get back into it. But writing a novel was difficult because I fell into extreme depression. I had a lot of trouble writing it. It was so, I mean, of course, it was fictionalized, and but then there were kind of lots of personal elements, emotional elements in it that I went into deep depression. I had to consult a lot of doctors, and then it was so difficult to face. And Elizabeth, you'll understand, I had to actually take a lot of meditation courses, and only through meditation I could, in fact, get back into the normal life. Because otherwise, around 6 to 8 months, a year almost, it had been quite difficult while I was writing and while I was redrafting the entire thing. I do not know why it happened so, but then maybe because it was a kind of a personal thing for me.
right.
Though it's not autobiographical, it had been quite painful and very difficult. Difficult not just for me, even for my children, my family. Even they used to complain that, oh, my mother had been so difficult those times. Thank God she's come out of it. So that was a kind of a phase I went through. So
Wow. So, meditation is so healing. It heals your mind, body, spirit all together. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful practice every day. It's just, I know it's healed me on so many levels. And I'm so grateful that you were able to, that meditation was able to lift you out of that. So glad.
yes, indeed. Breathing exercises and meditation. The
Mhm.
therapist actually put me into it, but then really thankful that it worked. Worked more than
Yes.
medicine.
Yes. Thank you. Guess what? Meditation and medication, one letter difference.
Yes.
Meditation and medication. So I thankfully have learned how to do meditations where I can heal a migraine headache with no medicine or
Mhm.
pain or, and it works. You have to do it in order to believe it because it sounds
Yes.
so in our world that where we rely on pills to solve
For
everything.
everything. Yeah,
Um,
for everything.
Yes, I'm so glad you shared that. Now, Babitha, did you use journaling as well during that phase?
Pardon?
Did you use journaling, writing in a diary or writing out your
Um,
feelings?
it's not really, not about feelings, but about my work in progress. I keep a journal all the time. Keep a
Mhm,
diary for my work in progress, like you know what all I write and where all I submit and where all I get rejected. So
mhm.
it's like I get around 70% rejection. So 30% acceptances as well. But I'm more thankful for 30% than 70. And a journal really keeps me uh, good about the work I'm doing, the kind of
Yes.
work in progress. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Not
that's
about
awesome.
emotions because I think that's too personal and maybe that should come out as another novel or something like that because it was so tortuous at that particular time.
Torturous. But guess what? That is part of the writing process. I know when I was writing my memoir and I was delving back into some difficult periods of my life, it's like, wow, it's like you open up a wound. But in doing so, you can heal it. And that's the beautiful part. I hope that was the result for you.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty healing, changed my life, in fact. I don't know, it'll be difficult for people who uh, listen to it to understand what exactly it is, but then I think maybe as writers, when I really get what exactly it is, it's like, as you said, opening a wound and experiencing the entire pain of reopening it, and then perhaps looking for some kind of a healing ointment or something like that.
Yes, yes. I love that. That's beautiful. And part of the healing ointment is the words itself, if poetry is therapeutic for you. So has like a circular infinity flow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. So what are you working on right now? Your novel or new poems?
Yeah, I'm done with my novel right now. It's with a few agents. So I'm just hoping. So I'm taking a break right now. And with the poetry commune, in the entire November, we've been writing poems every day. So
Oh,
we got these prompts, and I wrote I wrote for 20 days. Then I'd been working on a wonderful project. It's like I am working on women of a particular area. It was an old port town called Museris, which was mentioned in the Greek and Roman texts. So we
mhm.
found it, very very recent archaeological excavations. We found it that there's a place in Kerala like that, and perhaps it was like it was denuded by tsunami or something in the 14th century. So I'm actually working as the women of that particular area. It's part of a heritage project. So that's
Oh.
another kind of an exciting thing which I'm doing right now. So I'm putting all my illustrations there. I've been doing a kind of an ethnographic profiling of women in that area right now, that particular place, New Zealand area. That's what
Wow.
I'm doing.
What's one fascinating fact that you've learned about that?
The fact is that we've had accounts of that particular port town. It's for 2,000 years, people have been writing about that particular port town called Musuris, about its wealth, about its people. But for 2,000 years, there are no women in it. So, no women at all. Even now, when I was about to write about, people had been asking, why don't you write about women? So what I'm doing right now is the fact that I'm taking cross section of women from working women and future women, working class women, whoever are there as representatives. I know it won't be complete, but it's essential to in fact document them, document their contribution to the society because they've been ignored for
Oh
centuries and
my
centuries together.
gosh. Wow. That is so disturbing, but so beautiful that you're giving voice to them.
And it's quite spiritual a journey. Uh,
Oh, I love that.
yeah, because the place where I'm working on is a place where all the mother goddess cults have actually originated. Okay, so
Um,
it's kind of it's so spiritual. It's kind of maddening kind of a journey. I need wish me luck.
oh
Really,
my
all the
gosh.
luck in the world and
I wish you,
blessings and all.
I'm going to just keep you in my prayers for that. Like,
I need
wow, that's amazing. What's difficult about it though? Like excavating the information or?
finding out the right people, and then writing the stories. I'll just give you a small example. I met this woman who was a potter for quite, I mean, she was born into the potter caste, okay, a pot making woman. And then she's 80 years, 85 years old. She doesn't remember her age properly. So when I went and talked to her, she doesn't do her pottery work anymore because uh, they're economically advanced. But then while I was talking to her, she started crying. She started crying, thinking about the cruelties she has faced, how her husband abused her once upon a time. He used to tie her down to a pillar and beat her up. This old woman was thinking of those memories of the past, and she was, in fact, crying. And then, that was the moment when I thought that so much of unwritten pain and labor, in history, in her stories as such. And And it's like suddenly her daughter-in-law came and scolded for talking all these rubbish and things like that. So now I was like, see, this is like there's so much of untapped emotions within women, so much of it's just no sadness, but there's so much of wisdom. There's so much of skills that they really have to tell the world. They need to tell the world. So that was something that really surprised me and drew me in. And every time I meet a woman, I interview her for this, I come up with all these new resources of knowledge, new resources of pain, happiness, of celebration. But it's basically, more struggle and labor. So
Mm,
to document it, it's like pretty challenging,
mhm.
difficult also, but then I really love it.
Wow, that's beautiful. It's so bittersweet. You know, you're doing a
Yeah.
passion project, and at the same time, it's exposing you to so many painful realities that, but you're giving voice to these women. I love that. That's amazing. That is a beautiful, beautiful mission that you have. I want to be able to read this when it's done. Can I?
Of course, yes. I'll send you a
Okay,
couple of them
beautiful.
for
Excellent.
you and Catherine.
Okay, thank you. Tabitha, you are an absolutely wonderful person and so talented and on this powerful mission regarding women and writing. And thank you so very, very much for joining us tonight on Writer Talks. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we go?
Oh, I'm just happy. Thank you, Elizabeth and Catherine, for having me here. It's a great honor for me. And it's early in the morning, so it's like I'm all charged up. So lots of positiveness.
Yay! It's so funny that it's Tuesday there and Monday here, but
Yeah,
I'm so it's an absolute delight to talk with you, Babitha. I wish you the absolute best in everything you do. Wellness, creativity, prosperity, all good things for your family, happiness, joy, and wonderful outcomes for your novel, this project, and everything that you do.
I wish you the same. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much for
thank you,
having me here.
thank you. And thank you, all of you, for joining me here with Babitha Justin, phenomenal poet, writer, woman on a mission to make wonderful things happen. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, and here on Writer Talks, we celebrate the short story writers who are featured in our international anthologies every year. And Babitha Justin is one of them. Please check out her work on YouTube and on the Two Sisters Writing.com website, where you can read her story, Blue Eyed Ant. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you, Babitha. Have a beautiful day. And to all of you writers out there, happy writing. See you next
Thank
time.
you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye.